There are surfaces in everybody's house, and I don't care how big your island is. This one happens to be massive, but everybody has spots in their kitchen that they need to be really aware of. Like, what should you put out? I get this question all the time. What do I want to decorate? You know, this happens to be a very massive island, and I always have a centerpiece on it because it is so massive. Again, it happens to be seasonal right now. And so as we're talking about seasons, let's talk about what do you display and when is it appropriate and when do you go overboard with your decorating for the seasons. If I were to sell my house, this is probably the only thing I would have in my home that was seasonal because the island can take it. Now, if I had, no matter what size of an island, I would still probably always put maybe a bowl of fruit, a bowl of lemons is always nice in a kitchen to bring some freshness to it. Flowers, of course, fresh flowers is always a winner in any kitchen and says welcome to whoever visits it. So with this kitchen, I've got way too much stuff. If I were going to sell, I would take these items away, right? I would keep it simple with the centerpiece on this big of an island. I would say goodbye to the paper towels. And then, as we talk about the counters, we're going to come over here and take a look. Everything comes off. The trivets, right? The canisters, the blender, everything that I can live without, from day to day is going to be put away so that people can really get an eye for what the kitchen actually looks like, because ultimately it's about them seeing how they are going to utilize the space. Now, this is what I think about coffee pots. Coffee pots are one of those things I can't live without. So my coffee pot is going to stay on the counter, but maybe all this other stuff is going to be packed away, right? We've got espresso cups. We've got way too much stuff on our countertops. So I think actually now that I'm starting to put it away, I just might keep it away for a while. So tea towels. What about tea towels? I've got tea towels everywhere because I feel like I'm always washing dishes and cleaning up messes. I've got them everywhere. So let's keep them to a minimum. I'm one for having a pop of color if your kitchen needs it. Most kitchens don't, but I do understand you have to live. So maybe one tea towel where it's convenient, and then throw all the rest of them in the washer. So let's talk kitchens, because the kitchen obviously is a very personal space to anyone's home. So it's really important that you just create a clean environment that's welcoming, right? So what we want to do, we can do that very simply with just a small centerpiece. And this, again, I've got too much stuff on this table. So I would probably take these items away and maybe just keep it to 3 simple little items. You could do smaller items on a table. It doesn't have to be one big massive thing, but I mean, this is a small little flower arrangement, right? So you can do something like this and just keep it very clean and simple. These kinds of things are always swapped out. I wouldn't put like a half-burned candle on a table, on the kitchen table, so just be aware of that. And we'll talk about candles in a little bit. But here is another spot I think most people need to be aware of, and it is a bar area. So if you have a bar area in your home, it's really important that you keep maybe the alcohol to a minimum. You don't want it overflowing with especially big half-gallon bottles of liquor. You might want to put those away, put them in a cabinet. Some decorative bottles are always nice. Now, I personally think that bottles of maybe Pellegrino or some sparkling water are always nice to put out. In a bar area, they keep things kind of nice and classic. And plants is another thing we need to talk about. Now, plants are like kids, and they can grow until they outgrow a space. So you need to be really cognizant of your plants, where they are. You can use them as accessories in your home. They just can't be overgrown. So if you've got overgrown plants and you know you're not going to move them with you, maybe now's the time to give them away. Maybe now's the time to prune. They make great little accents. I had to bring my plants in for the winter. This one's overgrown, as you can see. It's not in a pot big enough or a planter big enough, but I had to get it out of the cold. If I were staging my home with it, I probably would use something like this, something raised up a little bit in a dark little spot, you know, because the greenery is always just a nice touch. This is probably too much. I want to create as much floor space in the kitchen as possible, or in any room really. So a plant is always a good spot to put something where you just have a big vacant hole.